Hello everybody, happy Friday. I am back again with some Easter Friends projects to show you guys. Just gonna get everything pulled up on my end. And it looks like we're good, we're live, and I think there's some people there. Hi Ramona. Make sure I don't have any volume going on the other end. Okay. How's everybody doing today? I will just answer somebody here. Okay. I love Fridays. Hi Audrey. I was actually just messaging you to tell you that I was here now. Hi Linda. All right, so I made it back with a couple of bunny projects. I'm sure you all guessed what that was going to be. And I have a card that I will show you guys with this little punch art bunny here as well. I will try to complete it while I am here with you guys. And I'm realizing that I left my ladybug punch. Here it is. So that I could show you guys how to make that cute little bunny. All right. Are you guys ready for some punch art? I will be just 1 second. Yeah, that one will do. Okay, so I am just figuring out which die I got the little bunny tail from. Which die set? I think it's from Hippo and Friends is the one that I used. Have you guys all seen the little punch art? Oh, that's awesome, Joanne. I hope that it will help you. And if you don't do the extra technique that I did on mine, it's totally okay. You can go simpler than what I did here. I just love the soft look. I'm going to try to move my shadow aside and show you guys up close how that bunny looks. Can you guys see the texture? Let me know. It looks almost like a canvas. And hi Zana. Almost Saturday morning, so happy Saturday to you, not happy Friday. Wow. Where are you again? Remind me if that's okay. You don't have to answer that if you'd rather not. But let me know if you guys can see the texture on that piece of cardstock that I stamped the bunny on. It is an old technique that we did a long time ago in Stamp Club. Do any of you know the name? If not, I'll tell you, but I just wanted to see if any of you guys know the name of this technique here on this piece of paper. I'll give you guys a second to answer that, and I'm just going to grab one of the tools that I need. Okay, excuse me. You're in the UK. That's what I was thinking. All right. No guesses on what that technique is? Long ago, we called it Faux Suede, this technique here that I'm going to show you guys. And that is how I did both this layer here that I stamped the bunny on, as well as this layer here, which I'm going to just try to hold closer here for you guys so that you can see the texture on this little bunny there as well. Can you guys see it on the little white bunny? It's a little bit easier to see it on the camera with the gray version, but in real life you can sure tell on the little bunny, and you can feel it as well. So I'm going to show you guys how I did this technique first, and then we'll get into making the card. Because once we do this technique, it's really actually pretty simple to make this card. You guys might recognize this layout from yesterday's project that I showed you. This was not the one I demonstrated, but I showed you guys this one here. So I just wanted to also show you guys how you can take your layout. So this one's facing, sorry, my little gem fell off here. This is a landscape orientation of the same card. And then with this one, I've just taken this and rotated it this way. I kept the DSP panel going crossways, but you can definitely take your one layout, rotate it the other direction, and get two different looking cards. I tend to use this layout a lot, actually. You guys may have noticed that. It's kind of a go-to easy layout to make work for you, depending on what you're working with. So that's where this came from. I decided to keep the layout simple and just let the focus be this bunny. It's very like muted colors, but I think it kind of works. I'm not sold on these little embellishments just yet, but on this project, you guys can let me know what you think. They look kind of, I don't know. Let me know if you guys have a better suggestion for what to put here. I liked them because they use the colors that are in that project. I just don't know that I really like them on there. But when I made this, the colors of this one just called out to me. So I'm not sold on them yet. I can still remove them and put something else on if I want. But you guys let me know if you have a different suggestion while I work on this technique with you. Okay, so now that you guys know it's faux suede, have any of you done this before, and do you remember how to do it? Let me know while I work away on showing you guys the method here. So what I'm going to use is a bone folder, and that's about it to start with. I also have another layer of cardstock, the same size of each of these layers. So this one is cut to size for here. You could start a little larger than if you wanted to. It is actually cut a little small. So I am going to need to grab another Smoky Slate. This is too small. So I'll come back in just a second and show you that one. But the idea is that I would have a second layer the same size. And then this one here, I went a little bigger than the bunny just so that you could see what I was doing. I didn't want to trim it down too small. So just bear with me. Sorry, guys. Take a quick measurement of this one. The Smoky Slate is cut so that it would fit. This is one of the scalloped contours. I trimmed it down to, it's just a little over 2.5 by just under 3 7/8. Measure that one more time. Sorry, I usually have these things ready so that you don't have to watch me cut paper. And you'd think I would be able to remember the measurements when I just read it out to myself, but my brain does not always retain that information even for 10 seconds. How about you guys? Am I the only one that has to measure twice? I remember when we were doing measurements for kids in costumes at theater, and some of the other moms could measure, we would always have to measure their bust, waist, and hips for their costumes, and some of the other moms could measure all three at once and then just write them down. Not me. I had to like measure one, write it down, measure the next one, write it down. That's not a good sign for my memory, is it? Okay, so now that I have the right size of Smoky Slate, I also need the proper size of basic white because I'm going to use that as a layer to glue it down to. So I just need another one of that. There we go. That'll need to be trimmed just a little bit more. Sorry, I'm making you guys wait while I cut paper. I'm glad I'm not the only one, and a scrap paper would be a good thing. I should just get used to keeping one beside me, and then I won't have to feel like my memory is so dysfunctional, because I do feel that way. Okay, we're almost ready. Get all these little pieces out of the way. So in order to do faux suede, I've used this for punch art. I've used it for stamping on. I think it's a fun technique to add a little bit of texture. So in order to do this, what I like to do first is just take my bone folder and run it along the paper. You are going to get creases in the paper. That's okay. Don't be alarmed that it's you'll start to see these lines like that. That's all right. So I just break down the paper a little bit this way first. So by running your bone folder, do you guys remember using the curling ribbon? So you take a pair of scissors and you run the curling ribbon over the blade of the scissors to get it to curl. That's essentially what I'm doing with the cardstock. So I'm just running it over the bone folder. This breaks down the fibers in the paper. And then I'm going to do one other. I went and used the wrong one. I used the one that was my base for the Smoky Slate. So I'm gonna have to cut another one, and I forgot to do the thick white version. So you guys are gonna get all of the tricks, including the what not to do by my errors. Hi Heather and Tammy. Okay, so this is the Smoky Slate. I chose this color because I thought it would be cute with the bunny. Then I will also, you guys can see there, hopefully you can see this, how the layers are separating. So the front and back, I'm gonna just hold that there for a second and see if you guys are able to tell. Bring that a little bit closer. Can anybody see that? How those layers, it might be too far. Here, I'll separate that a little bit. So you can see there how those layers are separating. Let me know if that's close enough. I think it's showing up there now. You learned to do this a long time ago too, Elaine? Or Linda, jeepers, I always do that to you. Okay, so then what I do, that is, you could really keep working it with the bone folder if you wanted to. And that's actually how I used to always do this. I did not add this extra step in, but I found that it separates a little bit better if I then roll it. So you just want to roll in one direction, and you can kind of hear it separating when you do that. And then unroll it, flip it the other way, and roll it there again. And these extra steps just help those fibers to break down. And I don't know if you guys can hear it where you are. So I started from this end and did both directions. Now I'm gonna go to the other side and do both directions. Can I get you to cut me this size of white, please? I'm gonna get a helper to help me cut because I went and destroyed the one that is supposed to be my base layer for this. Okay, so now I'm going to just take this and roll it the other way. So I roll one way, then the opposite way from each end. And that's just gonna help. So you can see there how it's almost doing the work for me, separating those. And then I just need the ends to separate a little bit more. So how many of you guys, now that you've seen this, have done this before? Linda has. Ramona, I think you have done this with me long ago, right? I think we did this when we did a punch art chick. It was with that old scallop, the scallop circles. The scallop circle was almost like a card front size. Do you guys remember that? So we did that little punch art chick. Okay, so here now you can see that those layers are separating. And I like to, you want to get a nice clean separation from one end. And if it's really distressed well, this should tear nicely. I might need to break that one down a little bit more. So I'm going to roll from the other side. It's a little bit tight there. So I just want to break that one down a little bit more. That way you can get 2 pieces worth out of this. If you don't break it down well first, then sometimes it'll kind of break on you partway through. So there we go. So then I'll have 2 sides, long time ago. Yeah, so soft suede, or faux suede, sorry, not soft suede, is what I knew this technique to be called. So now you see all of those fibers on the inside of the paper and how soft they look. And then you kind of get like a fuzzy, furry looking piece of paper. So some people will use this paper just as it is. I find that because it's now so pliable, I like to anchor it down to another piece of paper, and that's why I needed to cut a piece of white the same size. So what I would do then, it kind of shrinks it too. Do you guys see this now? These were cut the same size before, and now the white is a little bit bigger. So it seems to make it a little bit smaller. So I'll just have to trim this down some. So what I'll do next is I will coat this with glue, and then I will glue this down. If you were, so this one here, I'll still coat it with glue, but because I'm stamping on it and I'm not doing punch art with this one, in theory, I could just tape the sides and glue it down, and it doesn't really matter if the center is glued down, but you can see there how it kind of puckers a little bit in the middle. So I will go to the trouble of gluing the whole thing down. I will do a piece of white next so that I can do the punch art bunny. And this one I do need to glue it down fully, because when I punch into it, if I haven't fully covered it in glue, then those pieces I've punched could just fall off. And it's much easier to punch through it once you've already glued it down to another piece as kind of your base. So now we'll just break down this one. So this is thick white. I could probably do the basic white because that's what I would have done years ago, but I chose to do the thick white because I felt like it would be more sturdy in order to be able to fully separate both sides and get use out of both sides. So this little bunny here and the one I have on my card that I hope to be able to finish with you guys is they were both done out of just one piece. So once you go to all this trouble, you can get 2 out of 1. I'll show you guys that he needs a little bit of work, but that's the little chick that I did yesterday. And I'll show you the front elements of my card. This little chick I die cut as well out of the leftovers of this piece here. So you can also die cut, which is what we did with the punch art chick many years ago. The bunny is tall. The bunny's tail is not fuzzy too, but I should have. I thought about it afterwards, so it would make sense. I might have to, you know what, I'll do it on my next one because I could probably just separate the fibers of this one, or separate the layers of that one. So you could probably even do this without doing the bone folder step first. I just never have. Have any of you guys done this technique by only rolling the paper as opposed to breaking down the layers with this method first? Let me know if you guys have tried that. I'll have to try it after and just see how it goes. Then I can report back to you guys. Okay. So just don't be afraid to really break that down. Okay, so now I'll roll this one. Joanne, is this something that you think you'll do with all this rolling and distressing? I might be doing the distressing more than I need to, but Tammy, I'm gonna have to distress his tail. I think that'll be cute. How many of you around here are moving snow away from your house the last couple of days? Our kids have been outside doing that. I was out there today shoveling frozen snow away from our garage so that it doesn't come in there. You definitely probably wouldn't want to do it for that many, but you could do this just on Smoky Slate as well, or you could even stamp it on white and then color it in with some Smoky Slate blends. I've seen some really cute cards with this guy, but I'm with you. It would be a lot to have to do this to that many cards. I just want to break down these ends a little bit more. Please don't move it your way. If you check my post from yesterday, you'll see how much snow was there. Ryan's coworker posted a photo today of her son and dog in the neighbor's yard. So they're standing on a mound of snow. She took the picture from her window, and they're on a mound of snow taller than their 6-foot fence. And it is a foot down from what it was yesterday. So lots of snow. Okay, I'm going to just distress these edges. It is the weekend project. Totally. We got our deck cleared off, and that is the snow that is probably the closest to where we'd be worried about. So at least that's gone. But man, oh man, there's a lot of snow. It's okay though. No complaints. Okay. This one there. Oh, I'm going with 2 different. There we go. The layers kind of separated differently, but they seem to work themselves out. And this will be okay once I glue it down to the white base. There. So now there's the white, and you can see where I'll get that fuzzy bunny. Do you guys, I don't know where you guys are, if there was this game, but we used to, I think it was Fuzzy Bunny. In like junior high school, you used to do this contest at school where you'd have to stuff marshmallows in your mouth and say Fuzzy Bunny until you couldn't say Fuzzy Bunny anymore. Did any of you do that? I was always too afraid. Okay, so now I'm going to try to do this little bunny tail. We'll see if we can make this work. I'll just have to quickly die cut another one so that I can glue it down to that. So every time I say Fuzzy Bunny, I'm reminded of that game. They would do it in like Spirit Week, and they'd have assemblies. There we go. See, that one worked really fast. So because it's so small, there's that fuzzy little tail. I think it's adorable. That was a good idea. Thanks for prompting me to do it. I was being lazy when I made the first one, and I didn't do that there. Okay, now I do need to just take this. I'll show you guys again. This is from, oh, I think they moved it on me. It was here when I first started talking to you guys. That's from Hippo and Friends, I believe. Yeah, it's from this one here. So I just used one of the flowers to make the little tail. I'm not sure if that's the one that Angie Judah used. I was telling you guys the other day that this idea was one Angie Judah posted to do the little bunny out of the ladybug punch. But in just looking at her picture and seeing that it was a type of scallop circle, I just found this one in my collection. It could very well be the one that she used. And then I may as well show you guys the little mini stamp cut and emboss. So I am going to just bring in a piece of white. I'll move these guys out of the way for a second. And now I need a layer to put behind this little flower, because once this is so pliable now, if I try to dimensional that, it's just going to be flimsy. So I want to put that on a base layer. I'm going to try not to have this snap in your guys' ear. So I have that little layer of white. And if any of you have this machine and have troubles with getting it to go through, here's a tip for you. This one doesn't seem to like your sandwich being completely lined up at one end. It likes it to be, it would depend on what the color was. If I was using a really dark color, Tammy, I would probably use maybe black or gray for the base, but often I use white. So what I was saying about your sandwich here, it likes to be offset in order to grab into the machine. So I try to scoot one plate over and then another one back. So all of these pieces are a little bit off. The big machine, they seem to like to be lined up, but with this one, they don't. And if you have a long die, I find that it goes through better if I put it on an angle. So let me see, for example, this little fence, I would probably put it on a diagonal like that to get it to go through. Otherwise, sometimes it's like it jams and it just doesn't want to go through very well. So that is a trick to this machine. So in case that helps avoid any frustration, I don't want this to snap in your guys' ear. There we go. If I just close it, it snaps really loud. I did that to you guys once already. last week, I think. Okay, so now I have this little base for my little flower. So now I want to glue all of these layers together. So just make sure my Tombow is good. What I probably should do is the other end. So I'm going to see if I can get that other end to work for me. And I'm actually going to put the glue onto the solid layer. There we go. I don't want a lot to come out. It just needs a thin amount. And I should have prepared myself with which way this matches up, but I did okay. I managed to get it on the first go. So there we go. We've got this now sturdy little bunny tail. And I'm going to see if I can get the other end. Did you all know this has another end? So you get this nice broad flat tip for your glue. I will see if I can make this guy work for me. I don't, excuse this scrap sheet that I'm going to use. So I should have cut myself 2 bases, but you guys really only need to see me do 1. So I'm just going to do 1. I'll put 1 aside. And actually, do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to cut this twice the size and show you guys what I did for my own project. I forgot that I had done this a little differently. I'm going to stamp this in my Stamparatus, so I actually want a little bit more room on this piece of paper. So you guys might have seen, or no you didn't because I cut it before, I ended up gluing both pieces down. So I will show you guys that. I change my mind as I go here. And you guys are going to get a little bit more of a lesson than what I thought. And somebody said, why did I not know that? Oh, I'm glad you learned something new today. I very rarely use this end. But then you can take this and just now smear it over here. So I can apply a little bit more. You can tell I'm not used to it. I usually use just the other tip. But now that broad tip on there can help me smear that so that I get a nice application. You wouldn't want to do this when you're working with a fine area for sure, because you would get way more than you need. And I'm going to just pick this up and roll. I put a little bit too much and I needed some in that corner. So there we go. I should be doing this on my silicone sheet, shouldn't I? That's what I should be doing. So can you guys see that? Now I've got like a nice amount of glue, and just make sure you've got fuzzy side up and then the distressed side down. So I'm going to try to line this up without giving you guys the top view of my head and without getting my hand in the glue. Whoops, I didn't go quite down far enough, but that's okay. I can just easily get in here. Okay, so now this is one side, and I'm going to put this other one on this side. And you'll see why in just a minute. I'm going to switch this out for my silicone sheet. Or so I think I am. They all seem to have craft ink on them at the moment, so I'm not switching that out for anything. So now I will put this other one down. Now I was telling you guys that I wouldn't technically need to use the glue for this version because I'm stamping on it, but I'm going to anyway. Hi, Patty. And now I'm just spreading this over here. Do you guys know why this is called two-way glue? I can share what my understanding of it is, and hopefully I'm not completely wrong. Hi, Wendy. Okay. Now I'll line up this other one. There we go. Okay. So now we have 2 pieces. Now one other thing that I like to do is just take my bone folder and just run it over that just to make sure that it's nicely stuck on there. Temporary then turns permanent. You are right. So it is like a repositional. If you let the Tombow glue dry clear before you stick your 2 pieces together, it is like a repositional adhesive, so it's not permanent. If you attach the 2 items together while it's still white, then it will give you a permanent glue. So some people will use it. I know back when I first became a demonstrator, some people were using it to make little stickers to use on reward charts, because then they were just repositional. So they would cover the back in glue, let it dry clear before they would use it on the chart, and then that way they could put them each time that the kid did whatever it was that they earned a reward for, then they could put their reward sticker on their chart. And then you could peel it and re-stick it. Okay. I planned on making one, but I didn't get that far. Now I actually need to glue the white layer down. I went and put that scrap sheet away. So the gray one is ready to go. Now I'll just get the white one ready. Yeah, you probably could do that. It might be a little sticky if you wanted the, like where the mask is, if you're using it on an area that you don't want anything to tear. I'd be a little bit cautious that way, but otherwise, yeah. And then you can always use your undo or your glue, or Goo Gone, I mean, sorry, to remove any residue from it. I have used the Goo Gone lots of times to remove residue of Tombow. Okay, now I also gonna just get a clean side of that for myself. And then I'll use my bone folder again just to make sure that's stuck down well. This one I really want stuck down well because I'm going to do punch art out of this one. So I want to make sure that, see, there we go, that lifted there. That needs a little bit more glue. If I was to punch something from that spot there, it would just come apart. So I'm just going to use my finger to spread that out. Don't mind me. Yeah, give it a try and let me know how you're doing. So there we go. Now my white one is ready, and you can see here, I should not have stuck that down there. You can see with this now how much more sturdy it is to use for punching, but I still get that nice soft look. And that's the same idea with this here that I'm going to use for stamping on. So now I can show you guys what I was going to do next with this. I didn't even realize that Ruby was in here with me. She's tucked herself in her little bed under the other desk. I have one by the window and then one in the middle of the room. The one in the middle of the room has her little dog bed under there because she likes to be near me. And so she actually is right there, quiet as can be. Okay, so now what I want to do is take this. I am going to, so the reason I wanted this piece to be bigger is I can use the portion I'm not stamping on to hold down, to put the magnet to hold that down. And I'll just hold that layer down there as well. And I just should make sure that this is clean before I do this next step, because you never know whether I cleaned this properly before I set it aside. I think I did, but I would hate to put it face down on my project and then have it make a mark where I don't want it to be, because I am going to put this face down to line it up. It might not be in exactly the same spot as last time. Okay, so now I will just take this here, make sure that I'm all snug in the corner, and I'm going to put this bunny, this is where I want it to stamp. I want it kind of right in the center. So I'm just going to put that there, and then I'll pick this up. And I'm going to stamp it with Smoky Slate. So I'll just ink up, make sure that you guys can see that. So I've inked that up in Smoky Slate, and because this paper is fuzzy, it might not take the image super crisp the first time. So by using the Stamparatus, you can see there he's a little fuzzy. That's not as bold as here. So I inked it up again, and then I can just go back down in the same spot. If you don't have a Stamparatus, then I'm sure that it's fine to just do it once, but you can see now how much more bold that one is as opposed to one pass through. So what I'll actually do is show you guys what I would do here is I'm going to trim this off and then it will be in the same spot. Okay, so I trimmed off that excess and now this should be lined up the same. I just don't have as much room along the bottom to hold that down, but that's okay. And I'm not going to stick this down, so just be aware that when I place this down here right now, I'm not going to put it all the way. I'm just going part way as a guide, and I should be good. So I'm going to ink this up, and then I can stamp here. And now I have two. By gluing them down to a slightly larger piece of white than what I needed, I'm able to have them both on here at once. I can stamp them both at the same time. And then I've done all of that work of separating the two layers of paper to actually get two instead of one. So there we go. Now I've got both little bunnies. And I better just, I think I did wipe it because I don't have a grid sheet in here right now. So I would have wiped this off before I set this aside. There we go. Now it won't get my mat dirty. So now we've got these two little bunnies, and I'll show you guys how I built the punch art bunny as well. So for the punch art bunny, I'm going to use, again, I've got that little tail from the Hippo and Friends. If you have, there's a little trio set of punches we used to have that had a little scallop circle, a circle, and a little flower. The little scallop circle from that would work really well. I still have mine, and I would have gravitated to that, but I wanted to be able to show you guys something that you can still get. So for this here, now I need to punch, look, I've got a little flower on there, the ladybug body. So I need that one there. And the reason that I glued this down to this cardstock is it would be very hard to punch through the fuzzy layer if it was just by itself. It would be too thin. I find that sometimes with really thin paper, like if you tried to just punch through your printer paper, it's often too thin to get it to actually punch. It just tears it. There we go. So we've got the ladybug body. And then I need to use this. I use the large daisy. If you only have the smaller one, it would probably work too, but I just used the large one. And you want to get 2 petals. I actually did 4 because I knew I was going to be doing 4 or 2 bunnies. So you can punch 4. I may as well do 4. So if you do 4 of them right along the edge there, then you get 2 sets of bunny ears. There we go. So that is the makings of the punch art bunny. So here, then I would just take this, snip that off, and then I've got a set of bunny ears. Now this one here, it didn't quite go through the layer. That's okay though. So now I need to cut off the antennae, whatever you want to say. However you want to say that. The other day I was cutting off the head and now I'm cutting these off. It just sounds terrible. So then you've got this left over. I could punch another ladybug body here and then I would have enough for 2 rabbits. Okay, so I'll show you guys the building of the bunny. You could just use a glue dot if you wanted. I'll use my Tombow glue. So this is the fuzzy side up. And I am going to just put a little bit of glue on that little base. Now it'll explode on me, I bet. If I can get my glue going, there we go. Sometimes that's a chore. Hi, Kathleen. How are you? Hi, Darren. Okay, so then you'll just take those little bunny ear, or the little ears, or the flower petals, and then just glue it down about that far. And then you've got a little bunny. So it's the back view of the bunny. Then I'll take this little bunny tail, or the little flower from Hippo and Friends, and I'll dimensional that down here. I would actually normally sponge the edge of that, but I'm going to just leave it. And I just used a little mini dimensional to glue the little bunny bum. Oh, I forgot to share the clue today. I'm gonna have to pull it up on my phone and read it to you guys. And then you guys can take a guess and tell me what you think the new color is going to be. So I'll read it to you guys, and then you guys can make guesses. I don't know what the color is going to be. I haven't seen if they posted an answer, but here, while I'm creating, you guys can make some guesses. Sound good? They revealed it. Okay, so I'm going to tell you guys the clue first, and then you guys can make a guess, and maybe I'll tell you the color at the end. So here's the clue for the first in color of the incoming 5 colors. 5 in colors. It says, I'm a delicious treat on the tip of your tongue. Creamy yet dairy-free is the life for me. Strawberries, watermelon, raspberries, oh my. Just blend a little fruit juice, water, and sugar for a frozen surprise. What's my name? So if you're not a demonstrator and you haven't already seen what the color is, then please make a guess and let me know. Very interesting. Okay, so that is the little punch art bunny. What do you guys think of him or her? Let me know what your guys' thoughts are on that cute little bunny bum. Okay, so we'll put that guy aside, and then I will show you guys the card afterwards it's basically the same card, but I showed you guys that part there, and then I used the little chick from the Hey Birthday Chick dies and the clouds from the spinner dies. This little image underneath here is the image from Easter Friends. So I used the grass and I stamped it along the bottom of the white layer first. And so Joanne, actually, here's an idea for you. You could still use, if you have the ladybug punch, you could still create little bunnies, and you could use the grass from right here. So I just stamped a row, and then I stamped a row again underneath to fill in the little shape, because you can see it's a little bit curved. So I filled that in, and then I ran it through the Stamp Cut and Emboss machine. So if you do your stamping first and then texture your paper, it's called Faux Canvas. So if you have the Tasteful Textile, or if you have the old Subtle folder, they're both good ones to do your stamping first, then run it through, and you get that kind of canvas look. And I'll show you guys real quick before I work on this card here. This is basically the same card again, and I just wasn't sure on my colors to go behind here. I'm not sold on Pear Pizzazz, but I was going to just do the same thing, put my little DSP, and again, I would not put this whole strip behind there. I would cut just a little piece to put at each end. There's no point wasting all of this behind here. I just was using my strip as a tester to see if I liked the color, and I'm not sold on Pear Pizzazz, so we'll see what color I settle on. But this is the basis of my card. So I'll put that one aside, and I'll get building this one. So now what I want to do is trim this down, because obviously I don't want these attached to each other. So I'll just take my cutter, and I need to cut that down and the other side down. I can see a little bit of white showing, and I don't want that. So I need to just trim those edges off, and then we'll be good to go. So will any of you give this a try, this faux suede technique? Let me know. I know Joanne said maybe a couple. How about the rest of you? And then for my next card, I have another one here that I can make a second one with. So that'll be my challenge for you today. I do have a couple of card winners to announce, but if you guys would like to share this video, you do have to come back and let me know that you shared. We noticed while we were trying to tally up the entries for some of the other draws is that some people said they shared, but then like maybe 4 people said they shared, and then in the shares it would show only 1 had shared. or the other way around, where there would be shares, but then nobody commented to say that they did. So the only way for me to know to enter your names is if you come back and comment to let me know that you did share. So if you would like to, don't feel you have to, but if you guys would like to share, please do. And I will do a draw for somebody to win one of these cards. And then I will, the ones that we were able to, we'll go back and check the earlier videos, but I do have a couple of winners to announce for the recent videos. Okay, so now I can put this aside. I'll turn that into a card for one of you. And I actually have the second bunny from my earlier project too. So I'll be able to make a few of these cards. Now I have my card base, which is the 4 1/4 by 11. It's pretty standard. So I've got that. I have the 4 by 5 1/4. Hopefully you guys can see this. This is textured with the Dainty Diamonds, or no, sorry. Oh gosh, Gingham is what Dainty Diamonds is a really old one. This is the Gingham embossing folder. And then I use the scalloped contour dies for this scalloped layer here. This is not Stitched So Sweetly, but if you have Stitched So Sweetly, that would work too. And then I've got soft seafoam is what I chose. I wasn't totally sure. This is another one where I played with so many different layers before I settled on what I was using. I've got to trim a little bit off of the soft seafoam. And then I used a greeting layer. This is from the Messages die again. And then I used the little I Am Here For You. I thought that was kind of cute. You could use a Happy Easter if you have one, but I wasn't sure about the sizes of this, so I went with a really small one, and I used one from Threw It Together. So this is another set that has a lot of different greetings in it it's pretty versatile. So that's one that's in the annual catalog if you guys are looking for a good greeting set. So I'll stamp my greeting first. I am using StazOn. Hopefully that refill will come back soon, and the cleaner. I think they are both still on back order. And I am going to grab my other one. That one's got a little mark on it, so let's hope I stamped this properly. I don't know if Kathy's here watching tonight, but there we go. It worked. Okay. So I'll just put this aside, and that's all the stamping that there is to do for that. It's just the bunny and the greeting. So I will get these put together. I did actually distress the layers some. I just want to make sure that fits well. I always do a dry fit first. Do you guys find that you do that? I like to just check that my layers fit nicely before I go ahead and glue them together, because often it's easier to fix it and trim a little excess off before you attach things than it is to try to correct it after. So those are now layering nicely. One was a little bit too big before, and then now they'll fit inside that stitched edge nicely. So I'm gonna just distress these edges just like I often do. I've got to be a little bit careful with this one because the gray is glued to the white, and I don't want to necessarily reveal the white. I just want to distress the edge of the gray a little bit, the Smoky Slate. And I hold it like this with kind of my thumb bracing one side and my finger bracing the other, just so that I'm less likely to tear it. So if you guys like that technique, there's a tip for you. You try everything. The bunny tail and DSP could match. Yeah. Let me know how that goes for you. And I will show you guys, if I have them handy here, I'll show you the birthday chick dies that I thought were a perfect addition to this. Last year we had an extra chick dies set that had little eggs, and I went searching for those so that I could use them on that card, but they're retired, so I didn't want to use them and then have you guys not be able to get them. So this is the it's birthday chick dies. So here is what I used for the little vignette here. So the little chick and the fence here. And that paper, in case you guys were wondering, is the In Good Taste, I think it's called. So that's where that's from, in the annual catalog. That's where I got that. Now I can go ahead and I'm just going to glue this down to my scalloped layer. Do you guys have any requests for tomorrow? What would you like to see tomorrow? Let me know. Maybe I can accommodate them. I have one thing in mind, but it will be dependent. It was supposed to show up today and it didn't. So it'll sort of depend on that. But if that doesn't show up, I'd love to know what you guys might like to see. FedEx does not usually deliver here on the weekends, but for some reason it says they're going to deliver it tomorrow. So I will believe it when I see it, but there's always hope, right? Now I am just looking for, I had a little bag of scraps. So I have all of these little scraps of Pool Party. You guys can see that this is like one of my favorite pieces to use. This pattern in this color. I love Pool Party. And I am down to this much DSP in this pattern. So I'm going to just trim these little pieces. And here's where I always tell you guys, like I did with this one, don't use, I mean, you can if you want to, but I typically do not use a whole strip and put it behind here. That's a lot of DSP to have go to waste when all you see is this little bit on either side. So I'll just trim off a little bit from these pieces here so that I can just place a little bit behind there instead of using a whole strip. Okay, so I want to just measure this piece. And I did not do this ahead of time so that I could show you guys what it is that I do. This piece here is 1 3/4 by 3/4. So I can only get one out of this one. I was hoping I could adjust it and do 1 1/2, but I kind of liked the 1 3/4. So I'm just going to see which one of these scraps gives me the best use. And then that way I can save my other pieces for another project if need be. I did order more, but it's not here yet. It's stuck in that box that is not yet here. Okay, so I'm going to just cut it off of this one. I will cut what I need off of there, and I'll save these other ones because I know I will need them. I'll use them. What is your guys' favorite color to work with? And if you use these DSP stacks, tell me what your favorite pattern is. Is it also this one? I wish we could get 12 by 12 sheets of this. This would be my go-to paper. That's for sure. So I'm going to cut that to 1 3/4, and then I can cut myself off 2 pieces that are 3/4 of an inch. Pool Party, I'm with you. Pool Party, and I know David had said, I think it was Lucky Limeade. I loved Lucky Limeade. I think actually Pool Party and Lucky Limeade were in the same, sorry, I dropped paper, so my voice is a little disappeared there while I leaned down to pick it up. I believe Pool Party and Lucky Limeade were in the same color collection of In Colors, maybe the year I joined or the following year. So now I just need to cut my 4-inch strip. I missed that. Okay, so I know some of you asked the other day, why do I put these on a piece as well, like a spacer here? Why don't I just glue them down to either end? Sometimes I will just glue them down to either end, but this time I'm going to glue them down to this little spacer first. And how I often do that is I will just run some seal along both ends. And then I can just take this and stick this down. I really didn't need to flip that over. I don't know why I did that. But I want to make sure that this is right along that edge. And then I want to make sure that this one is right along that edge. Okay, so now I have this and I can place that across there. This way, by using the spacer, they're lined up to each other. And then I'll use my card here as my guide as to where I'm going to place my DSP layer onto the textured layer. And for that, I will use my Tear and Tape. I'm sorry it's so dark. I'm trying to keep out of your guys' way there. I'll have to try one during the day tomorrow and see how the lighting is different. Sound good? What do you guys think about daytime on a weekend? I need to just move this over here because the bow is getting in the way and I don't want to tape that down. I have another trick with the bow. Have you guys noticed the bow? And do you guys know what the trick is with it? Let me know. Does anyone recognize that ribbon? I'll try to see if there's... And do you guys have any guesses on that color? Let me know if that clue, maybe you guys already know the answer and so you don't want to guess. White crinkle. I did. You guys are right. So what I did here is I just took the crinkle seam binding. I almost called it crinkle cut. My fries on my mind. And I'm just going to put a piece of scrap paper. So I'm going to just move these out of the way. And I used the soft sea foam. Because I used the soft sea foam on this layer here with the bunny, I thought I would color some ribbon to coordinate. Usually I stick to my white ribbon. You guys know that I love it. You can see there. But I decided that it might be a little bit too much white. So if I pulled in some green, it would just, it's still a soft color, but it would bring in a little bit more color. So you just take the brush tip of your blends and color in your ribbon. So I just need to make sure that I color enough that I can wrap it across the front or place it across the front and then tie my bow. Because of the alcohol in here, it'll help it dry quickly, but it also makes the ribbon a little bit crunchy. I should have measured how much I needed, but I didn't do that. So my trick for that, I just want to test my piece here. So here's what I usually do. I just want to make sure that this is dry and I'm not going to get a big green blob across the front of my project before I'm ready. So I know I need to wrap a little bit around one end, a little bit around the other end. So I need about that much for the front. And then I just make sure that I have enough left over to tie a bow. So my coloring ends here, and that's a little bit short for tying a bow. So I need to color a little bit more. That would have left me a little bit short. Now it would be smart if I would measure this, but maybe I will. I'll measure it real quick and then we'll know for next time. Okay. So that is about 20 inches of ribbon. So now I will cut this one off where I finished coloring. And now I can attach this to here. So the trick, I was telling you guys I have a trick for you. You can see here, this is nowhere near as pliable. It's kind of a little bit more stiff now that it's had that alcohol. So just like we did with the paper and what you would do with curling ribbon, I'm just trying to soften it a little bit. So just, if you guys have a trick for this, let me know. I just kind of soften it up and then crumple it some more just to try to help get some of that softness back into it so it still looks crinkled. So now it's a little bit more pliable than stiff. So I'll tape this down to either end of the back of my card or either side. I just tear a piece of Tear and Tape off to do this. And I want to place that about right here. So just right behind here. And then same thing on the other side. And then now what I'll do is, that's about as high as I want to go with that ribbon. So then I can stretch this across and then stick this to the other side. Okay, so now we've got that. Now I have a lot. I probably colored a little bit too much. I don't need this much to tie a bow, but by taping it behind either end like that, now I've saved that much ribbon, though I'm gonna waste it on here because I colored too much, but that's okay. And then I can put this down to my card base. So I'll glue this down next. And then you guys will see how I build the front from there. Did you guys have any suggestions for gems? Should I stick with the same ones for this card? Should I stick with the sea glass gems? Let me know what you guys think. Have you all colored ribbon with your blends before? I don't do it often. I should do it more than I do. I just love white seam binding and the white ribbon from Flowers for Every Season. I use those two a lot. I'll have a ton of the green gingham from Flowers for Every Season because I use the white so much that I'm going to have extra rolls of that. So again, I haven't peeled all the backings yet because now I can just use this here to hold on and glue that down, and then just reach in to pull those backings off. If I can. I remember coloring it Flirty Flamingo. I don't remember what project that was. I just remember that I did color it Flirty Flamingo. It was, I believe, for the launch that we did. Oh, you know what? It was with Pretty Perennials. It was that I colored it for. Okay, so now I can dimensional this layer down, and then I'll tie that bow. By placing this down first, it actually helps, this scalloped rectangle will help anchor my ribbon down in place and make tying the bow a little bit easier. So I just want to hold this to the side, and then, excuse my, I'm going to give you guys a shadow here again. I usually need to stand up to try and get this straight. Hopefully it's not crooked. The other one feels crooked to me. Okay. And then now I can just cut this. So I'll hold this here and I will cut that, and then I can tie my bow. I sometimes don't need to tie or to glue dot my knot down when I do this, and sometimes I do. It just depends on the ribbon. Now I'm like all thumbs. Okay. And then you just want to make sure that your layers of your ribbon are flush to each other and not twisting upon each other when you tie a bow. And then that way you get a tidy bow. And it's a little bit harder to cinch the ends back when you have colored it, I find. It's not quite as soft and forgiving, but it works. There we go. So that is the soft seafoam ribbon. It's kind of a shame that I colored too much because now I have to waste all that. That is a little too long for the tails. There we go. And then I can dimensional my little greeting, and I wanted to place it just here. I didn't want to hide too much of the bunny. That's why I was saying that I found on this layout of my card, I didn't want to use this here. I almost put my friend, but I felt like the Happy Easter, my friend, the my friend should go on the inside. So I switched it out for this one here, and I just didn't want to put a piece big enough for this Happy Easter to hide the bunny. I thought that it needed to kind of be the focal point. So that is my reason for switching out to a different greeting. But absolutely, the little Happy Easter would be so cute. There's also in this Through It Together, I think it was in here. Oh, maybe it was a different one. There was another one that had a baby greeting in it. And I thought that that would be a good one for this. There's a Hello Baby. This one's a little bit too big still. But you could always use this as a baby card, I think. I think it would be a super cute little baby card, especially this little bunny. Or the chick. I think they make good baby images. This is actually when we had Ethan, a little chick like this was Ryan's sister gave him a stuffed chick, and he had Noah's Ark kind of stuff in his room. We decorated it before he was born. We did not know that he was going to be a boy. I mean, in my mind I knew he was a boy, but we had no test to determine that he was a boy. With Lennon we did. With Ethan we did not. But yeah, and Lennon we were actually convinced he was a girl. So we were wrong with him, but it's all good either way. So here we go. Now, what are your guys' thoughts on those gems? What should I put on here? Ramona, you have never colored the ribbon. You have a few blends now, right? You could always... Oh, I feel like it would be really pretty with Misty Moonlight. Not on this card, but that would make some nice ribbon. I haven't tried coloring the Flowers for Every Season ribbon. I'm a little bit afraid with the coarser ribbons to use my brush tip on them from my blends. I'm afraid that it will fray them. Oh, the time change. Oh no. So Tracy, are you guys on the same time as us now? Or are you different? Is it, I don't even have my watch on. I forgot to put it on today. Is it almost 8 there, or is it a different time? Maybe I'll try, I don't know what to put on here for gems. Maybe I'll leave it. What do you guys think? Yeah, definitely give it a try. So there we go. That's the card for today. I think I'm going to play around with gems. And I'll finish up that other card with the little bunny, the one where I did this little vignette here. But I think that the little chick, so I'll show you guys how I colored or I'll tell you how I colored the beak and the feet. You can see that they're, wow, you're an hour behind us. So the beak and the feet are colored by, initially I went straight on with the, I'll show you guys. I still have the other little guy sitting here, and maybe I can tone it down some, but initially I went straight on with the marker, and I found that his beak and his feet were way too bold. I don't know. What do you guys think? I'll put it next to the bunny so that you can see it a little bit better than just in my hand. So they look very bold to me in comparison to the soft colors of this project. So instead, to get a toned down look, what I did was I took my blender pen. So these are not blends, these are your regular like Stampin' Write markers. So I took a blender pen and the brush tip of my Stampin' Write marker, and I just lifted some color off of there, and then I colored in the beak and the feet. I actually have a little scrap here from where the chick was cut out, so I can show you here. So then I just went like this and then just colored like that. So then you get a much softer tone of that pumpkin pie as opposed to the really bold by going straight on with the brush tip. So if you guys were to try this, hopefully that helps. You could probably even, if you wanted to give the bunny, oh, maybe he should have a pink nose. I might have to try that on one of these. Color in the tip of the, I don't know, what do you guys think? I won't do it on one of these because they're complete, and if I don't like it, then that would be kind of sad. But then just make sure that you color off before you put this away. I just need to grab a piece of scrap. So you don't want to leave that color in the tip, so just take a piece of scrap and make sure that you color it until that color comes out. But I tried to do it with blends. I'll show you guys actually. Oh my goodness, if I put the right tip on my markers, that would be useful. So just make sure I cap everything here. So I tried to do that same method with blends. So by using my color lifter and lifting color off of the tip of blends or off of a block, if you color onto a block, right here you can kind of see this block here, it has some pumpkin pie blends colored on it. I have colored things in by lifting the color off of the block with a with my color lifter, and then color something in. That's what I did to this chick here. This chick here, I colored his beak in that way, but it bled outside the lines and it blurred the lines of the actual stamped image. I have a second one. So anyway, that was why I switched to just using these ones here, because this one's not going to make it bleed so much. So that was my preferred method for coloring in the little beak and feet on this one here. And I think it's just much softer. So you guys can see the difference. Do you guys agree? Do you feel like this one's too bold and that the softer version is a little bit better? It's hard to see it in this light. I'll put that a little closer for you. Let me know what you guys think. Gray bunnies have black or gray noses. So maybe he needs a gray nose. I should do a white bunny and then give it a pink nose. Yeah, so that was how I did that. And I actually missed showing you guys one little step, which I might have to lift this off and do. I spattered a little bit of Pool Party on the greeting layer just so that it didn't look so white. So I'll probably lift this off gently or just mask everything else with some sticky notes and spatter some Pool Party blends on there. But that is how I did the faux suede to get that soft bunny and this soft bunny here, and then the soft chick. Because the chick was die cut afterwards, it's not quite as fuzzy. It flattened it out some, but I think he's still cute. And if you feel it, it's still super textured. So that's how I did those. And that is about it for tonight. I will come back tomorrow, but again, I'm going to have to just post tomorrow what time that will be. If I can determine a time tonight and post it with a little bit of notice, I will do that for you guys. It just hinges on a couple of other things that need to get done, and whether or not that item I'm waiting on shows up or not. So thank you for sharing. And I will do a draw for one of these bunny cards as well if you have shared, or I'll put your name in a draw. So just a reminder as well, if any of you are interested in participating in my birthday challenges, because yesterday was my 14th Stampin' Up! Birthday, I have these challenges here. So with this host code here, if you're interested in placing an online order, a $50 purchase will get you a chance to win your choice of a Spring is in Bloom 20% off bundle. Of course, supplies permitting, so if they sell out, you'd have to choose something different. A $75 purchase will get you a chance to win the draw, as well as 14% of your order in free product. And a $100 purchase will get you both of these two things plus a free exclusive birthday class. So this is just my way to give back to you guys for celebrating my Stampin' Up! Birthday with me. And the ordering incentive will end on Sunday night at 9 p.m. Central. So you have from now until Sunday evening to take advantage of this. And then yesterday I did a mystery challenge with you guys. So I posted all the dimensions yesterday, and then some of you came back and stamped with me in the evening. If you didn't get to do it yesterday, you can still participate. You would just go back to that post, find the measurements, and if you create a card and post it on the challenge post that I posted last night, then sharing your photo on that thread will get you an entry to win the brushed brass butterflies. Those are probably my favorite spring catalog or January to June catalog item or embellishment. So that was why I chose those as part of my giveaway. So if you guys would like to participate in those, please do. Do not feel obligated, but I'd love to have you play along. And I will be back tomorrow to create something else with you guys. And maybe I'll be lucky and that item I'm waiting on will be here. Maybe not. And if you guys want, I can share with you the, what's it called? The March Paper Pumpkin. Did you all have, is there anyone here who has not yet received theirs? In Winnipeg, we got ours today. And I have a team member who usually gets hers a day later than mine. Hers actually came earlier in the day than I got mine, but it is cute. And we have to design our extra projects because Laura and I are offering the On the Horizon alternative class. So we've got to get those done as soon as possible so that we can get all the supplies out to everybody. All right. Well, thanks so much, guys. You got yours today too. What did you think of it? Let me know what you guys think. I think it was great. The box, I'll show you guys how my box came before you go. And if you guys are good with it, I'll show you the stamps. Do you guys want to see the stamps? I don't know if Tammy's here, but look at this box. That is how mine came. They actually had to come to the door and tell us that they made a ticket for this box and another one. Not another paper pumpkin one. The other one was like a box with an order in it. And they both came banged up like this. I don't think anything inside is damaged, but check that out. This is probably the worst I have ever received a paper pumpkin box. They're usually pretty good, but they were good about it. And then it came with these two stamps. So we've got these great greetings. I think they're awesome. And then I love the greetings in this one too. Celebrate, best wishes, sending you birthday wishes, and time to celebrate. And then those flowers. So we're going to have some fun with these. Hi, Lori. And I know, right, Eva? Like, this is a pretty box. I will actually probably call to get a new box because this would make a nice gift box, I think. You could just cover this up with something different and use that as a gift. So, I don't know. I love the pretty boxes. Yours are coming in rough shape? Maybe I won't. I don't know. It's really just the box. If anything inside is damaged, then they'll replace it, but maybe not the box. We'll see. All right. Well, I should run, but thank you guys all so much for joining me. Let me know if you're interested in any of the birthday incentives. Please do keep sharing your projects from the mystery stamping because I love seeing what you guys have made. It was lots of fun last night to see what you guys came up with and for you guys to see what each other makes too. Aw. Well, then you'd have to send it all the way here, Jessica. Oh, that's a nice idea. Send them away with gifts. All right. We're going to have to make that a challenge at some point. All right. Well, have a good Friday, everybody. And I will be back tomorrow to share something more with you guys. Good night.